Welcome back to another episode of Trading Secrets. Today we are joined by professional golfer, 2017 Masters champion, and newly joined LiveTour golf professional, Sergio Garcia. Sergio has spent most of his career in the top 10 official world golf rankings, having won 39 career titles and well over $50 million in tournament earnings. Sergio has supplemented his on-course earnings also with several brand partnerships. In recent news, Sergio became one of the many PGA Tour golfers to switch over to the newly formed golf tour, the LiveTour. Many golf professionals, executives, and media outlets have been critical of golfers who would leave behind the spots on the PGA Tour for Live, but we are seeing that momentum change significantly. Today, we are going to chat about what a career in the PGA Tour is like, how Sergio keeps himself mentally and physically trained to be a professional golfer, the dollars and cents, of course, and the business strategy behind the career moves he's made, and why Sergio, Masters champion. Thank you for being on Trading Secrets.
My pleasure, Jason. Thanks for having me.
It is an honor. All right, now I could have kept going with the resume, but I had to stop somewhere so we could get this interview off. But I want to take a stroll down memory lane. You may or may not remember this, but it's a moment I won't forget. And I've talked to Macklemore because he's been on the show, and he didn't forget it either. August 2021, BMW Championship. We were walking down the first hole, and I asked you, how many rounds do you play per year? And then Macklemore guessed, and then I guessed. We were both way off. You told us at that time it was around 325 rounds you played per year. We were blown away, but you said to Ben, who's Macklemore, you said, but think about your craft, music. You have to practice music every day. So I have a question for you for people back at home. Most people hate their jobs. When you're playing 325 days a year, most of your living life is playing your career. What advice would you have for someone that's like, I'm in a career that I just don't like? Do you have to be obsessed? Is it motivation? Is it discipline? Like, what keeps you that focused?
Well, I mean, to me, to be totally honest, I just love what I do. So that obviously helps. To me, like going to practice or going to play around with friends and have a little game, a little match or something, to me that's fun. So it's practice and it's work ethic and getting ready to, for tournaments and stuff like that. But to me it's fun. So I never see it as work. Obviously, I'm very fortunate, and unfortunately not a lot of people can say that, because I'm doing like actually my job. It's what I love doing. That's if you can find that, that's the ideal thing. A lot of people, unfortunately, they get a job that maybe is not their favorite, but they need it because you need to live and you need to provide for yourself and your family and stuff like that. So I always feel very, very fortunate about that. If you can do what you love, I mean, that's the ideal spot, I guess.
Yeah. So then there are some athletes though that are like at your category, like a Tom Brady, right? Where he comes out and says, listen, I love what I do, but also I'm putting in that extra work to be the best. So when you're at that point where even though you love it, but you're getting, I don't know, just a little tiresome, do you have any strategies or tactics or anything to like stay focused, stay disciplined, continue to work when you don't want to work? Or for you, is it the love that always keeps you ahead?
Well, there's several things. I think that, to me, funny enough, I try to keep myself busy with other things. And that helps me be more focused when I'm practicing or playing golf. So like, I love playing tennis. I've always been a huge soccer fan, and I played soccer when I was younger, and I play once in a while. So things like that, I love driving, I love cooking. So all those things, to me, I've always everyone is different, but I felt like when I'm doing those things, I'm not thinking about golf.
Interesting.
So it helps me kind of disconnect, recharge batteries, and then when I'm going back to practicing or playing, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm excited about it. I wanna be there, So I think that it's just finding that fine tune, that mix that kind of kicks.
Yeah, I think it's really good advice, because if you think about people that have downtime, if you're not doing that downtime to be productive with other things, then you might be too focused on what your actual main thing is. And I think that's a great piece of advice. for people back home, we'll get into the dollars and cents, we'll get into all that, but we gotta go to where it started. So you started playing golf at 3. Your father was your coach, Victor. There are parents back home that have kids that are athletic and they don't know what direction to go, especially these days. Do you have your kids play many sports? Do you just focus on one? Do you make this sport a priority over school, things like that? Being that you started so young, you won so young, you became a professional so young, what advice would you have for the parents that are listening now with younger kids when it comes to athletics?
Yeah, it's great question. Obviously I can tell you what I feel it's right for Angela and myself with our kids, for example. It doesn't mean that that's, ideal for everyone, but we have, for example, we have our daughter Azalea, and she's doing golf, soccer, tennis, gymnastics. She's doing music. So I always thought, and I always said that, I wanted our kids to be involved in sports, and Enzo's starting to do some of those things too, because I feel like it's a healthier environment. It's a healthier life. I think nowadays everything is so easily within our arm's reach. Dangerous things that if you can be around athletes and you can be around sports people, it always feels like you're more on the right track, not only physically but also mentally. You play sports, so the mental side of it, and how much you have to mature and grow and think about what you're doing. So and you have to be, if you want to be decent at any of these sports, you have to be focused, and you have to go in a certain path. You can't be doing all sorts of things. So I like them to obviously at some point pick one and see where they go. But as a youngster, and that's what I did too. Yeah, I played golf, soccer, football, tennis. I would play anything I could get my hands on.
I love it. Sergio already alluded to the mental fortitude. We're going to get into that because you have walked next to some of the greats. You've battled with Tiger Woods. You had a complete showdown for your Masters. So we're going to get into some of the tips and tricks of how you stay focused in such high pressure situations. But one follow-up question, I think the idea of being surrounded by sports is great for any kids, especially as they're developing. You had mentioned at some point you'd like them to pick one. And for you as a parent, is there a certain age you think that in today's world you kind of have to get singular?
I don't know. It's a good question. I think that definitely on your teens. Okay. I would say, for me, it was probably when I was probably 12 or 13. Okay. I definitely got even more focused into golf. I still play a little bit of tennis and soccer, but I definitely started just focusing a bit more. I think that it's just a matter of a couple of things. What the kid loves. Yeah. Most importantly, I think it's important for the kid to be willing to go and play that sport, not having to push him to play that sport, because you don't want him to get burned out, like that. So, and that's where we're going with loving what you do, So if whatever it is, and then usually it's around that age, 12, 13, 14. Okay. You can see what you're excelling more at. Yeah. And if the kid is in love with that sport, then you can kind of guide them that way a little bit. But I think it's important for them to also make a little bit of a decision. Yeah. In what really drives them,
I think it's a good segue because, right, you're 43, you're still thriving, you're still working every day. If you're forced into that, if you're pushed into it, there's no way at 43 you're still focused. You'll be burnt out, right? Yeah. So the idea, likely, I would think that. All right, so let's go to that. I think it's a good transition to 43. The pillars of this podcast are financial well-being, professional well-being, personal well-being. These are like the 3 pillars. So I want to talk about these pillars because now you are 43. You look back at, let's say your teenage self who wins their first professional tournament as an amateur and then becomes a professional in your teenage years. I want to hit those 3 pillars real quick. Let's start with financial, because it's trading secrets. Mm-hmm. You're telling your 18-year-old self right now, one high, one low over your 20 plus careers when it comes to golf. Let's start with financial. What is the one high you'd be like, hey, 18-year-old Serge, this is awesome. This check, this moment, this deal, this tournament we won, I bought my first something. What are you telling him? This is your financial high.
I don't know. I've been very fortunate because I've had a really good career. It's still going, obviously. But I've been very fortunate. Obviously, I worked really hard and I played well. And I've been able to make good amount of money. I mean, to me, I have always said it, not only for what it gives you personally, but for me as in a professional way, for my profession, I think that when I bought my first plane, that was that was probably one of the biggest things and one of the probably the most important things that I did for my career. Mm-hmm. Because I feel like, even though, don't get me wrong, it's an expensive asset. Yeah. It's an expensive toy to have, but definitely the amount of time that I save, and time is something that you cannot buy. Yeah. The amount of time that I save throughout a year, like when we looked at it, we realized that I was going to be able to save around between 22 and 26 days a year.
Wow.
In traveling.
Interesting.
So yeah, because I was able to leave home later. I was able to fly to the tournaments closer. Mm-hmm. I was able to leave the tournaments earlier.
Yeah.
Like as soon as I finished, like a lot of the times when we were living in Europe, playing here in the US a lot, if you're in contention, you're finishing at 6, 7 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
By that time, you go to the airport, pretty much every single flight going to Europe is done.
Interesting.
So you have to wait another day.
Okay.
So you have to fly the Monday instead of the Sunday. Then for me, where I was in Spain, for example, you'll be flying to Madrid. Madrid is 3.5 hours drive from where I'm from. So
okay.
So it's extra time. Then you don't think about it, but once you go down and you say, okay, you're making a big decision, obviously financial decision.
Yeah.
To buy a private plane, then you go like, okay, so if I can save all these days where I can spend it with family, I can do a couple corporate days here and there and make a little bit of extra money, and then that helps me pay for the expenses of the place, something like that. So it's interesting.
I mean, I'm sure teenage Serge would be like, wow, you bought a plane. That's pretty damn cool. You can pass on this question, but I have to ask because if I don't, they'll yell at me. Roundabout, how much does a plane cost? Like $10 million?
It depends on what you want to buy.
Because it just vary. Yeah. All of them vary.
Okay. Depending how big it is. But but like the first one I bought, which was a smaller one, and then I had to make a couple of extra stops flying from Europe to here.
Yep.
It was probably around 12, $13 million. Okay. Like that.
Very cool.
It wasn't in my teens. It was in my 20s. But
oh no, I was saying teenage Serge.
Yeah, I know.
That's cool. 20s getting to plane. That's pretty cool. All right, financial high. With highs come lows. For everyone back home, they feel it too. Can you think of any financial lows throughout your career, or maybe a time maybe you made an investment that didn't go well, or just a time that like finances were or something financially within your career was a low?
Yeah, I had again, I've been very fortunate. I had some great people around me help me invest my money and done very well on it. So with not a lot of risk. So that's obviously I'm very thankful for that and the people that I've been involved and I am involved with at the moment. But I do have obviously one moment which was tough because it was a plane. And, it was pretty much a brand new plane that I bought. And, the company that I bought it, I think I had the plane for probably about a year or so. So it was pretty new, bought it from brand new, and the company started struggling. We obviously asked. We had people that we thought they were friends,
Sure.
and in the company, and we asked, "Hey, is everything okay?" And they were like, "No, don't worry. They're gonna come. Someone's gonna buy us. It's gonna be fine. Don't worry about it." Because obviously we're thinking, if something happens, we want to sell before, of course, too late.
Yeah.
So we asked several times, "No, don't worry. It's gonna happen. Just give us some months. Give us some months." So 6, 7, 8 months go by. The company goes bankrupt, and and obviously our plane goes from whatever $18 million to 5.
Wow.
So that was a big, that was a big loss. But fortunately, like I said earlier,
Yeah.
all the money was well invested and was well taken care of. So we were able to make up for it and stuff, and we're still doing great. But yeah, it was tough. But, it did happen. Those things, it's unfortunately, you have good moments and bad moments, because we kind of got through it, and we're fine. So
I love it. That's why I love asking the question, because a lot of times we only see the highlights. We don't see those stories or hear about them, but they exist. We all have to bounce back in some capacity. Whether it's 15 million or $15, everyone's got to bounce back, right? It's just different times. Let's go to professional high. I would imagine it's the Masters, but what is your professional high that you're telling your teenage Serge, this is what's going to happen in your professional world?
Yeah, definitely Masters. Yeah, it's one of them. Fortunately, one of my highs was when I was a teenager, the Ryder Cup.
Yeah,
Ryder Cup, and obviously all the Ryder Cups I've played, but those are professionally my two highs.
Okay.
The Masters 17 and every single Ryder Cup I played, winning or losing, because they're all special. Obviously the winning ones are even more. But the one in '99, my first one, and to turn pro in April, at the end of April, and be able to make the team on my own in September,
It's incredible.
5-6 months later.
Yeah.
It was something that obviously I didn't have in my mind at the beginning of the year. I was hoping that I would make some Ryder Cups, but I didn't think I was gonna make that first one. So that was amazing, even though we lost it on Sunday in Brooklyn and in Boston, but it was it was unbelievable. The experience was just, there's nothing like it.
There's nothing in the world like it. Nothing like it. All right, I have some
Into one of them?
Oh yeah, I was at the Ryder Cup at Whistling Straits, and it's so much fun. I mean, the energy is just unlike anything, and it's obviously with Live, there's a team aspect now, but in other areas of golf, there's never a team aspect.
No.
So to see the best players like yourself and everyone else come together, putting your arms over each other, rooting as one, and representing countries in many countries, there's just nothing like that other than the Olympics.
Yeah, and that one was great, but it wasn't as good because it was right after COVID, or right kind of
It's Europe.
COVID.
Yeah.
So there was very little European support.
That's probably why I was like, this is awesome. All US or US.
I know, but as good as that is,
You want representation.
you want a little bit of both.
Yes.
So then you can see both.
Yeah.
Both.
And you can meet people. And talk, be like, okay, where you're from. At the end of the day, it's camaraderie. That's a good, I didn't think about that.
So you have to
go back to another one.
where everything it's obviously whatever we play, there's always going to be more. If we play in Europe, there's going to be more European fans and stuff.
Yeah.
We play in the US the same way for the US, but when you can get the mix and the energy that you can see, the energy that you feel on the course is just amazing.
Nothing like that. All right, I'm going to definitely go to another Ryder Cup. And for my golf listeners here that are new to the show, I will get to Ryder Cup and Masters. It's coming, I promise. Let's end this segment with one professional low. Lowest moment in your 20-plus year career.
It's funny, I know that a lot of people would say probably the British Open 2007 when I lost that in our playoff and I had the putt to win, LiveTour and stuff like that. obviously, yes, that was a bit of a low, but and at that moment it was a very big low. Like for me, as a 27-year-old with already having had a couple of chances of winning majors and being close and not getting it done and having my big chance there until then, it was a big low. And but then after I thought about it, a couple of weeks after I was in Spain, and I remember I was walking on the beach and trying to kind of get my head straight, and I was like, hold on, I know that you just lost the British Open, and obviously I wanted to win it so badly, but why are you making it such a bad thing, such a barrier on you, when you did so many good things to put yourself in a winning position, and you're just focusing on what happened on the last hole and then the playoff. So obviously, it was a good learning experience.
Yeah.
And it helped me to see that, yes, obviously we want to win, and that's what we practice for, and that's what we love doing, but it's not just the main thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes you also have to realize that, I know that people say, the second place is the first loser.
Yeah.
I understand that, but I'd rather be the first loser than the 20th loser.
Sure.
I'd rather be the second than 30th.
Yeah.
Or something like that, because at least I know that if I'm second, most likely I've had a chance of winning.
Yeah.
If I'm 30th,
You weren't even in the middle.
I probably yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just the way you look at it.
Yeah.
But that was, at that moment, that was a low, because I felt like I had it.
Yeah.
And I felt like I did so many good things to win it.
Yeah.
And it was a rough, probably week or so after that. But,
Yeah.
But I'm glad I was able to find the positives out of it.
I think personally, professionally, we all hit lows and we all resort to different things and then learn from it. In any of your lows, it's a form of, like, some people have a tough day at work, they get home and they got to have a couple drinks. Was there any behavioral things you did in your lows that now you change, or did you resort to anything, or was it all like, did you have anything that got you back and focused? Like, when you look back at your 20s, how did you cope with that? This is more of a psychological question.
I think for me it was family. Family and friends.
Yeah,
having good
getting you back.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, being able to have something else to go for.
Yeah, just distracting with other things. Yeah,
go and play tennis or play paddle tennis.
Yeah,
like we do in Spain.
Yeah,
play soccer or something like that.
Okay,
that helped me kind of disconnect and conserve energy and not use all that energy into bad thoughts and thinking what happened, and obviously, until probably recently, until the last probably 5 or 6 years, I didn't really use like a mental coach or anything like that. So I kind of worked everything myself and with my family and friends.
And do you use a mental coach now?
Yes. Now I've been working with one, a good friend of mine, and it's great. But it's it's just finding little ways of making things better, and then kind of like getting stuff out and just kind of not keeping it,
not internalizing.
Right.
It's I've talked about this. It's you gotta name what you're feeling, then you gotta drain it. And it's interesting that even people at your level have to do that with mental coaches. I have to ask you this as a golfer. There are times I sit over a putt with 3 of my friends and we're playing for $50. I start shaking. My heart rate's going. Are you doing things to keep like your actual adrenaline down, your heart rate low, in what is probably the most critical 3-4 holes of your entire life? Like, are you managing your heart rate? Are you doing breathing tactics to slow down?
Yes, without a doubt. Okay. Like I said earlier, obviously there's moments when you feel better than others. But I think that at the end of the day, when you get nervous, usually what you do is you start either not breathing or hyperventilating. So what I always try to tell myself, it's when I start feeling my heart going up, and those are good things because it means that you care.
Yeah,
it's a good point. Yeah, but at the same time, you want to be as calm as possible once you hit your shot. So important to take deep, long breaths.
Okay.
In and out, and then you can feel your heart kind of slow down a little bit. I think the problem is sometimes you get nervous and you feel it, like you're getting nervous. You're so focused on your nervousness,
you lose focus of what's in front of you.
Correct, and you forget to breathe. You're not focusing on your breathing. You're focused on your breathing. You kind of forget about the other stuff too a little bit because you're so focused on your breathing and calming down that kind of helps you relax a little bit too. So I think that's always important.
All right, let's get to some of the economics. We talked about Masters. Just curious, you win the Masters. What do you get paid when you win the Masters? What does a check like that look like?
It's probably less than what people might think.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a good check. I think it was like 1.2 or something like that.
Okay. And then I assume when you win the Masters, though, brand partnerships and opportunities, the value of that probably much outweighs that 1.2 million, correct? Like that value is absolutely. What was the biggest? Was there a big life-changing moment after you won the Masters you'll never forget? Like you get a call from a big brand or a big opportunity?
There's obviously, I mean, I've like you said, I've had a really good career.
Yeah.
I've been in the top 10 for pretty much most of my career. So my contracts have always been decent.
Yeah.
They've always been good because of that. So what happens when you win the Masters, obviously you start renewing with a lot of the brands.
Yeah.
So obviously, it brings renewals, a little bit of a raise and stuff like that. But for me, it was pretty much the same companies that I was with, just kind of renewing for another 5 years or something like that, raising a little bit the fees, and then the only one that kind of really changed was golf brand, clubs, a manufacturer.
Yeah.
That went with a different company that I was at that time, which was I was playing TaylorMade. Unfortunately, it didn't work, but that was probably the biggest change on my contracts at that time.
Pretty cool. Okay, I want to talk about Ryder Cup 2018. You become all-time leading Ryder Cup record point scorer. You had already mentioned the passion you had for it. Now it's a career high. There was some conversation and articles written about Patrick Cantlay, who didn't wear his hat because he was a little frustrated with the whole payment and financials behind the Ryder Cup. My understanding is whether you're Team USA or Team Europe, you're not paid to play and you have to get there on your dime, and you're not paid any capacity if you win. So naturally, it will 100% be a financial loss. Is that correct?
No.
Okay.
No, it's not. They pay for your expenses.
Okay.
So that's all paid. You don't get paid to play, and you don't get paid. I mean, I think now they're starting to do like a little payment for charity.
Okay.
And they give you
That's good.
some money, not a lot, some money, and then you can put it like for charity and stuff like that. I think that's the beauty of the Ryder Cup. That's what keeps it so unique and so so true. That we actually play for pride.
Yeah.
We get paid. Like they pay us for like our travel expenses and hotels and all that stuff. The team takes care of all of that. But when it comes down to getting paid to play it, or if you win it or don't, that doesn't happen.
Yeah, because it seems like the sport of golf and money, there's never been more of like two subjects that are now taking up the entirety of the sport, which is interesting. So it's good to hear that from your perspective, you're like, that's a play for pride tournament. That's not a go cash your check tournament. Do you think the landscape of even the Ryder Cup and what's happening now will look dramatically different in 3 to 5 years as people like you that have such a legacy within the Ryder Cup aren't playing in it for X, Y, and Z reasons. Like, do you think there becomes a new Ryder Cup? Do you think that all changes?
I hope not. I hope not. I mean, obviously, like I'm not giving up on it, and I'm taking my European Tour membership again to at least give myself the best chance possible of trying to make the team.
Yeah.
And be eligible for it. But I hope it doesn't, because that's what keeps the Ryder Cup pure. And even though you don't get paid, if you make the Ryder Cup team, if you play in the Ryder Cup team, like we were saying earlier, your contracts that do go up a little bit. So you don't make it that week, but you do make it on appearance and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's not like you do make it, but not in that week.
Yeah. The whole idea of economics in all sports is changing drastically. We see it even with like NIL, with these NCAA athletes. Now all of a sudden there's all this money being thrown at them, right? Where before there wasn't. I think we've seen it a little bit with PGA and Live. Obviously Live comes along, and now all of a sudden purses are higher at PGA, and competition drives change essentially. When you think about that, I looked in 2022, it looked like your tournament earnings were over $6 million in just one season with Live, which I think was about 3 times higher on average than your tournament winnings with PGA. When you think about that and the change that's happening, what's your overall sentiment of how it's changing and the fact it's changed this fast?
Well, at the end of the day, I think it just shows you that competition is good.
Yeah.
It's good for everyone. I think it happens in every single spot in the world. You know, it doesn't matter if it's sports or different kinds of company. You know, the only thing that drives you to get better is competition. Why did I turn pro when I was 19? Because I felt like the only way I was going to get better at golf and what I loved doing was by me playing with the professionals, which was the highest competition I could get. I felt like if I stayed an amateur, I was going to hit a plateau, and I didn't want that.
Yeah.
So it's companies, it doesn't matter if it's companies, sports, whatever it is, the only way that things get better and the only way that technology gets better is because another company comes out with something better, something different. So it pushes everyone to improve.
Yeah.
As simple as that. And I think that's what Live has done to golf and to the PGA Tour. You know, it just pushed them to realize that, you know, even though we've been the best tour in the world for many, many years, there's someone here that is actually pushing us, and you know, we need to evolve and become better.
Yeah. I got to ask you about legacy though. So over the summer, you made a comment about how switching to Live might have an impact on your chances of being elected to the World Golf Hall of Fame. When you look at professional legacy, or anyone back home that looks at it, I think we all define it. Legacy isn't what other people think. Legacy is what I make it. For you, when you made that decision and you think about today, do you get at all worried about your legacy? Does not making the World Golf Hall of Fame when it comes to your professional resume keep you up at night? How do you feel about that?
No, it doesn't keep me up at night. I mean, obviously, you know, it's like I always say, you know, the more sugar, the sweeter. So it's as simple as that. But it doesn't mean
I like that.
It doesn't mean that, you know, I'm gonna change my view on my career and what I was able to achieve, or my family, or my friends, or really my fans. You know, obviously, at the end of the day, yes, if you're inducted in the Hall of Fame, yes, it's great. It's a tremendous honor. But does that make your career? I don't think so. You know, I think that it's at the end of the day, you have to be happy with what you've done. You have to be proud of what you've done, and I'm very proud of what I've done and what I'm doing. And you know, that's at the end of the day, that's all I can really do. I can't make other people think what I want them to think or anything like that. I just can give them like different options and subjects to talk about me and things that I've done, and then they can make their own opinions, I guess.
You're doing it your way, the way you see it, and the rest is left up for everybody else. Okay, I can sit here and talk to Sergio all day. I have a million more golf questions, but we only have so much time. So one more question for you, and then we're gonna do a little rapid fire, and we'll get your trading secret. Talked about your impact on the golf course, the dollars, the cents, the personal and professional achievements. Let's talk about some of the impact. This weekend, we're actually in Austin for 4Kids ATX. The event was absolutely incredible. The after party and live music was amazing. And guys, stay tuned to the recap because I have some funny golf stories I'm going to tell you. But we talked dollars and cents here, and I saw there was auction items. There was the Valderrama and Lucia Live packages. I think they went for over $100,000. I mean, it was mayhem. It was so great. And to know that all that money is going to the charity, the not-for-profit that you and Angela started, impacting so many kids is amazing. Tell me a little bit, if you can, how much did you guys raise this weekend?
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, like you said, Jason, amazing week, and we couldn't be happier and prouder, and even we couldn't be more thankful to everyone that was involved, including you guys coming and supporting, and our donors, everyone that came and put money and bid for some of these amazing auction items that we had. And obviously, like you said, Live Valderrama and Lucia Valderrama, was one of them. So yeah, it's been amazing. We're super happy about it. Last year, it was already a great event that we had here in Austin. I think obviously before expenses and stuff like that, we were able to raise, I think it was $2 million last year, which we're super proud, in like 2 nights.
It's amazing.
And this year we even topped that off. And I think we don't have the actual finish numbers yet, but it looks like 2.3, 2.4. So super happy and super thankful for everyone that was a part of it and donated and helped. All this money is going to go to kids, community, families here around Austin, and it just feels amazing to be able to help so many people, and everyone should be very proud of it.
It's incredible, that amount of money to be raised in this short period of time. I also think it connects the full conversation we had, because we talked about how competition is good, and when competition is good and there's more monetization, those people can then create whatever legacy they want, and hopefully it is a good legacy. With more coming in, it gives you the opportunity to do more, and now have raised over $2 million for kids in 72 hours. It's amazing. It's impactful. And we talk about legacy. That's creating your own legacy, not worried about everybody else's noise. So cheers to both you and Angela. It was a hell of a weekend. All right, quick rapid fire, and then we'll get your trading secret. So I'm gonna ask you a few questions. The first thing that comes to mind, let me know what it is. I know you're a thinker. I know you're very smart analysis guy. Don't overthink it. Okay. Trading secrets, rapid fire with Sergio Garcia. Here we go. What is one thing that you spend too much money on? You spend too much money on, but you're like, I gotta do it. It's for me. It's my convenience. It's my thing. What would it be?
I would say private planes.
Private planes. Okay, who is the toughest person? You got to get matched up with someone. You got to go shoulder to shoulder, walk all day and play with them. Who is the toughest person? It can be either intimidation or just their annoyance, whatever it might be. Toughest person to play with.
I mean, Tiger Woods is the first one that comes to mind.
Yeah, that presence is something else. I think you have the same presence, because we golfed with Rick yesterday. He was a scratch golfer. You were around for 2 holes. He couldn't hit the ball. You left and he couldn't miss the ball. It's a real thing. All right, let's go to this. The biggest prize check, the biggest tournament check you got when you won an event, just for winning the event. What was it? How much?
Well, funny enough, I think my biggest check was this year in Singapore, in Live Singapore, but I didn't win. I finished second. I think it was like 2.1 or 2.2 million, something like that. But as a winning check, I I would have to say probably the Players Championship. I think it was like 1.8 or something.
Okay.
Like that.
Very nice. Okay, inflation and obviously competition. Checks are getting bigger. You have to create a foursome today. The foursome has to include public figures, celebrities, politicians, whatever, very public figures. Who is in your foursome?
I mean, I have to put my dad because, you know, I love him and he's done so much for me.
Yeah.
And it's difficult to just put four because, you know, I want to put all the people that I love and family and stuff. But let's see. If we take family aside, I will put Michael Jordan. I will put Ronaldo Nazario, Brazilian striker, as you know.
Yeah.
Good friend. And probably, I don't know. Yeah. Maybe a past, like a really, like a Ben Hogan.
That's a good group right there. But Michael Jordan, he's going to want to gamble. You know, he's going to want to bet like $100,000 a hole. Are you willing to gamble with Michael Jordan? That's the question.
There, we can bring the stakes down and listen.
I like what Chris Harrison said. Chris Harrison's like, I don't gamble with people that can lose any afford of money. I'm out on that. All right, I have a million more questions, but we will wrap with your trading secret, Sergio. It is one secret that people back home, they can't Google, they can't learn from a professor, they can't read in a textbook. The trading secret could be about life, money management, career management, anything, but it's special to your experience. So one trading secret with Sergio Garcia.
Wow. I mean, nowadays with social media and stuff like that, you pretty much know everything. But I don't know. It's I think that I don't know if it's interesting or not, but I'm fairly. I don't know if you could call it OCD, but I'm a little bit like I like my things to be set up in a special way, you know. So, like my golf bag, you know, the clubs, they go in a certain spot, and if me or my caddy or someone else puts them in a different spot, I have to put it back in the spot. My zippers on the bag, they have to be all closed. Like if I see an open zipper, I have to close it. It just happens.
Yeah.
It's just that I have to do it. I don't know why. It just makes me feel right. So I guess I'm a little bit OCD when it comes out to some of those things.
Yeah, I think the idea of being like, you're meticulous, and whatever career it is that you guys have back home when you're listening, the more meticulous you are, the more planned you'll be, the more prepared, and maybe even the more easy you'll be at when you're doing your job. I rarely ask a follow-up question to a trading secret, but this is one I forgot and I have to ask before we wrap. Caddies. How do caddies get compensated?
Well, it depends a little bit on the player, but usually they get weekly wage.
Okay.
For travels, and then you will do a percentage
Of the winning?
of what you win that week.
Okay.
So usually maybe you do like 10% for a win,
Okay.
8% for top 10, and 6% for any other position that you finish. So
Got it.
so usually that's how you do it, and then I you know, I think some other guys do it too, but I like to give them a little bonus at the end of the year.
Yeah.
And you know, they go through a lot with us.
Yeah.
Not only the traveling, but some of the punishment we put them through. So
Yep.
so they deserve it.
He's a giving guy on the golf course with his caddies and with For the Kids ATX. Sergio, thank you so much for being on this episode of Trading Secrets. We appreciate it. Insightful, impactful.
Thank you.
What you're doing on and off the golf course is incredible. So thank you for being on.